So we'll see if others join us and everything as we get along. So hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Wittenberger. I am Vice President of Administration and Finance for the Bluegrass IIBA chapter, and I will be facilitating this chat session today. We have a special guest mentor in business data analytics with us today. Bill Powers does have the certification as well as the CBAP and the Agile Analysis one. He is currently president of the Bluegrass IIBA chapter. He's a senior business analyst, has worked in many areas and operations and process improvement, things in that, as well as many others. So I will turn it over to him and let him get started.
All right, thank you, Aaron. So as Aaron said, my name is Bill Powers, and I acquired my CBDA back in June 2022. Of all the certifications that we've done through the IIBA and through the Bluegrass, I have to say the CBDA was the one that I was looking the most forward to. Mostly because I've spent my entire career in Excel and Access and SQL and et cetera, et cetera. But mostly I would say Excel and Power BI. And so as my entire career being one type of analyst or another, have always leaned very heavily on Excel, and have done so to not only troubleshoot, but also to prove out scenarios so that when decisions are made that we have proof to lean on. Just a couple slides I had that I'd like to share. Let me throw these up here. And get rid of that. I'm going to put that. Yes. There we go. And I think someone said something.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So anyways, in this class, so there's going to be this upcoming session. There's going to be Kathy Lay and I will be teaching the class. Aaron will be facilitating it. Kathy's got also a lot of experience in analytics, but one of the things that we do with this class that makes it more relatable is that we have a student exercise that goes throughout the class where, being from Kentucky, and one of the biggest things that Kentucky's known for is horse racing, is that we try and use business data analytics to determine who's going to win the Kentucky Derby. And so we've got the statistics. We've got all kinds of statistics going back many years, as well as the statistics we'll have for the horses that are going to be in the lineup for this year. And so Kathy has extensive experience in horse racing. So she has, in the past when we've done this, she operates as our SME. And we use all these different metrics that are available and try and use that to figure out what the secret sauce is. So the learning objective of this class is going to be, we're going to discuss the guide. We won't read the guide necessarily, not verbatim, but we're going to cover it. The idea of this is to help prepare you for taking the exam, and then give you a little experience in working on a data initiative. And when I say the data initiative, one of the probably most powerful parts of being a business data analyst is storytelling with data. and that is leading your audience through to a conclusion so that you're using the data and you're walking them through the story and you're able to bring them with you through the journey and arrive at the same conclusion with the supporting data. So this is what the exam is based off of. These are the different areas. And so uh, research questions, sourcing data, analyzing the data, all extremely important throughout the process because you've got to understand what the problem is you're trying to solve. You have to make sure of the source of data. Do you have access? Is it the proper source? Is it the best source? You got to be able to analyze the data. What tool am I going to use? And what format is the data in? Does the data need to be normalized? Is there a lot of noise out there with that data? That first step is that we need to eliminate all that noise and get down to the raw data that we need. Then you got to be able to interpret those results. And that is probably one of the bigger challenges. But then in the end, you need to use the results to influence business decision making. And it sounds a little bit, I always thought a little bit rude because it's almost as if you're trying to lie or you're trying to influence them. You're not. The idea is that you're using the data as proof to show why the decision, what the decision answer needs to be, and that the numbers will represent that. And a lot of times, it'll take multiple metrics to support that. And then, of course, guiding the organizational strategy. The exam itself is only 2 hours, 75 multiple choice questions. It's proctored, so you take it remote, virtual, but it is proctored so that you have both a computer and a person watching you. Mostly, I think it's a computer. And then if something happens during the exam, such as you look away from the screen, I think it keys the person. They'll stop the exam and they'll ask you what you're looking at, that sort of thing. If you touch your face, which I have a habit of doing when I'm thinking, they'll ask you to stop doing that. It's a little strange because the computer's watching you the whole time, but not a big deal. Um, Before I go any further, and I only had a few more of these slides. Is there any questions that anyone has in specific to what this is all about? Um, because honestly, it's about the love of of analyzing data and taking something that is completely raw and producing something that is going to provide actionable information, something that decisions can be made on. Uh, I don't know if anyone had any questions specifically, though. Uh, Now, the book itself that this is all based off of, if you're a member of the IIBA, it's free. It's out there. If you go to the catalog or library, you can download it. It's I mean, it's pretty detailed. I've got it here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I actually printed it off. I'm that type of person. I'm one of those that needs to actually have it in print to study for it. And but it's one thing I have to say, kind of like the BABIC, it's really nice to have it electronically because if in my current role, if I have a question on something, it's so much easier to go and do a control F on the electronic copy of it and look something up. Uh, so, but I also, again, I have lots of notes in here that I've made over the past couple of years. So I look back at that as well. But as a person that has a I have a passion for producing actionable data out of raw data uh, to help make decisions, mostly in projects, or it could be actually just about any aspect of business. Um, that's what kind of drew me to this. Also being a business analyst, so this is something that we lean on constantly. So again, this intro I have here, this is a slide that I pulled out of our presentation for the class, and that most business decisions involve some degree of uncertainty, and the decision makers seldom know the exact outcome of their actions.
Bill, John has his hand up.
Say that again?
John, did you?
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there either officially any prerequisites, or is there any knowledge going into this that you'd recommend? Like, should we be pretty comfortable with the BABOK, or is there
No,
any agile in there?
no, I would say no. I would say the only prerequisite is probably a basic understanding of Excel. That would be uh, probably the only prerequisite. Now, if you are familiar with Agile and Scrum and the BABIC and all of that, then I mean that's always going to be a bonus. But no, you really don't need a prerequisite of it because I mean we kind of start from the beginning and take you all the way through. And the student exercise is always a lot of fun because we take that data, we work as a group and we work individually. So we take time through every class for everyone to talk about and present back their findings. We provide the data and we talk through what it represents, and then an example of one that we've done in the past. And then you take away the data and you see what you can do with it. The data, this is public data. So, but that that doesn't mean that somebody hasn't figured out a better way of looking at the data or utilizing that data. Our favorite movie reference, I think, in this class is the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt. And the whole premise of that is that people have been looking at the data wrong all along. That in that movie, they were always looking for the people that were scoring the most home runs. And in fact, what they should have been looking for was people that were getting just on base. And if you can get a lot more of those people that just get on base, dollar for dollar, you're going to come out so much farther ahead than, because you're limited by budget of how many players you can have. So anyways, the movie Moneyball was a great example of what business data analytics is all about, is that looking at the data in a specific way, sometimes you have to add in additional variables. But the whole goal is just getting to the truth. So hopefully that answers your questions. You really don't need any experience other than to maybe know the basics of Excel. So the idea of what we do is beyond taking the data from Excel, you can, to actually turn it into visual representations like charts and graphs for storytelling. Some people prefer to use Power BI. Some prefer to use Excel, and some like to use what was the other one? It starts with a T. Tableau. I prefer Excel and Power BI, but it all depends on what you have available to you. otherwise, then the last part of this is that it's just that this is the study that targets effective business decision making, as opposed to using rigorous technical know-hows through which data is analyzed. Now, a lot of cases, business decisions are made off of gut instinct, and there is something to that. But to be able to back it up with some statistical analysis, I think everybody would, especially if these are decisions that are going to have serious impact, I think everybody's more comfortable with having that to support the decision. Now, if it conflicts with what the gut instinct is, even better, because that tells you that maybe you need to pump the brakes a little on that decision and do a little bit more research. And if the data is wrong, then that's good for the analyst to know why. Where did we go wrong? How did we look at it wrong? Was the data itself inaccurate? But no matter what, it is good to have supporting data. So let me go on to the next one. Whoops, I lost my screen. I don't know. Can you guys see anything? No, it stopped. Hold on.
See your desktop,
Yeah, hold on. There we go.
the intro.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know.
The last
That
slide.
Yeah, that was the last slide. That's why. Okay. I forgot. I had one more that I had put in there and I pulled it out because I was like, it doesn't really need to be talked about here. But I could tell you well, I've been working with data, as I mentioned, my entire career. Many years I was in finance and an operations analyst. And no matter what, to be able to do presentations and add into it visual representation of data, supporting the decision that you're lobbying for the team to make for a decision, it is always very powerful because it's difficult to deny numbers. If you can walk them through the decision and how you arrived at those numbers, it is a very powerful thing. So let me open it up to any questions that anyone has. I'll stop sharing. And there we go. Dorian or John, if you have any questions, I'm an open book.
Was a good question earlier, John, and that. Knowing a little bit about a business analysis, having a general concept or understanding of the BABAC is good. As Bill said, knowing and working well in Excel is really good, or one of those other power tools for data analytics, and that the certification itself does not require any kind of data analytics experience. Like when you go for the CBAP or the CCBA, you're going to have to document work experience, and that is general business analysis. But this has none. It has no professional development, so no training requirements in it. So you can walk off the street and get this certification if you know this stuff. And the stuff is that last book that Bill just showed us the cover for, published by IIBA. It's the Guide to Business Data Analytics. As Bill said, you can, if you're an IIBA member, you can get a free PDF version of it. If you don't have it, if you're interested in our study group that starts in about 3 weeks, then we give you the opportunity to purchase that at a little bit of a discount, from us, and we will ship it to you, and that will be a printed, an actual book copy that Bill held up a minute ago, and that. So, So we do have a business data analytics study group it starts March 28th. It's on Thursdays for 6 weeks. As Bill said, we have a student exercise that you'll run through, and actually a couple of other different exercises, making dashboards and analyzing data. But the main exercise is to use data analytics of the last 10 years of Kentucky Derby data that we have culminated and everything to predict who's going to win this year's Kentucky Derby. So the class will go through May 2nd, Thursday, May 2nd. Guess when the Kentucky Derby is? May 4th. That was by design, so you could see. And actually, was it last year, the year before? Kathy actually won. She bet on the Kentucky Derby and she won. And that, unfortunately, it wasn't because of her prediction in this class or anything. She bet on the jockey because she knew the jockey and that. So, but anyway, that was kind of a funny story we have behind our study group. But, as Bill has been saying, data analytics is very important to companies, and being able to analyze data and present it effectively to executives is an important role for business analysts in that. So companies can gain a very big competitive advantage in the marketplace by efficiently using data, mining it and analyzing it, to improve processes, to make better business decisions, to make product, what products are we going to put out in the marketplace? What's the probability that it will be successful? All these kinds of things you can answer from business data analytics, and companies do that. And I personally think that the emergence of artificial intelligence in the whole business, ecosystem is only going to amplify that. And that so business analysts and architects and everybody within the company is getting out there with artificial intelligence, and that's just another way of mining data.
It's huge. For the companies that can figure out how to get that information accurately and interpret it and use it for decision making, the faster they can do it and the more they can beat their competitor to market because of it, the more they're going to win.
So in appreciation for you engaging with us today and being here and being at one of our events, we do have a 20% discount for the upcoming study group. So if you are interested in getting this certification this year or in the very near future, I highly recommend this study group, because Bluegrass chapter, we operate a little differently than a lot of other IIBA chapters. We truly, in all of our study groups, we truly go to train and prepare the student to take that exam. A lot of other chapters, you may see study groups out there that are a little cheaper than ours, or they're free. Many times those are just round table discussions among the participants, and there's not real training going on. Like Bill said, we don't regurgitate directly what the guide to business data analytics said, but we do go through it. And we have exercises and homework that re-emphasizes it and make sure that you are learning the material. Then our last session is a practice test. And Kathy and Bill and a few other people were involved in writing those practice questions, and that's our test bank and everything. It's nothing from IIBA or anything else. We wrote all those questions, and we made it as close to the actual exam as we could. I think it's a very good gauge for how prepared you are. You know, we have a recent success story last year. It was our CPOA study group, the product ownership analysis. We had a person took the study group, got a 83% on the practice exam in that. 2 weeks later, he went and took the actual exam and passed it. So, you know, if you get a low score, then you say, okay, I'm going to need another 6 months of really going through this material, learning and all of that. If you get a good high grade, you know, you can take it in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or something of that nature. I think it's a really good gauge of how ready you are. It certainly will show you a little bit about what to expect from the exam. And we also give you exam tips, you know, what to expect from the experience and tips on passing it. We're not giving you answers, but, you know, we're just giving you basically general test taking tips and a little bit about this one. But we're going to, if you've never taken an IIBA certification exam before, we give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect from the experience. And we think that will help a lot in reducing anxiety. You know, a lot of people have anxiety around taking exams and that, you know, so when you know a little bit more about, you know, what it's going to be like going into it, you know, that reduces that anxiety.
I think too, taking it as a virtual exam, to me, there was a lot less stress to it because you're sitting in your, you know, in your comfort zone anyways, unlike, well, even the CBAP you can do virtual now, but when I took the CBAP, you had to go to the testing center and sit there for
I did
4
too.
hours. And that to me was nerve-wracking, but yeah, it helped
I
to get
don't know if it's your comfort zone. We've had a couple members said they took it on their bathroom floor.
You know what? I take it back. Yeah, because I did mine, I think, in my son's closet because there was nothing on the walls, which is one of the requirements. I don't want that. And they make you take your video camera and show under your desk and all around the room and, you know,
Yeah, they
whatever.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those ladies said the guy asked her to push her shower curtain back to see what was
Yeah.
back in her
Make sure
tub.
so that someone wasn't sitting there reading to her. Yeah,
You know,
that's funny.
you mentioned about touching your face and everything. We've had one member say that, you know, she was actually taking the CBAP, you know, and she's going through it. She had to think about this question. So her natural thing is to kind of look up and over to the right. And the proctor came on the computer and say, "What are you looking at?"
Yep, that happened to me.
Nothing. I'm thinking.
That was me. And when I think, I have a tendency to look up, and that's exactly what happened. They stopped and
I
said,
think a lot of people do.
What are you looking at? Can you turn the camera to show up?" And I'm like, okay, it's
It's
just
a ceiling. It's white.
there's nothing there. It's just me thinking. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, that is.
So, anybody in the audience there, do you have any questions at all? We certainly hope you will take advantage of getting this certification. It's a very valuable one. Companies, you know, as I said, use data analytics, you know, all the time and it's a good area for business analysts to be in and that. So, there is a discount for being an IIBA member on exam fees. Fortunately for this one, there's no application fee. You just pay one exam fee and that is it. And the cost is lower for IIBA members than non-members. Same is true of our study group. So we do give members discount for our study group, you know, for IIBA members. And then you get an extra 20% on top of that. So get that code out of the chat and go. If you're ready to go, you know you want to get this certification here in the very near future, then start preparing and that, and we'll talk about that in the study group, preparing, get a plan together to, get that certification when you want to. Procrastination is a big factor for many people, myself included. We help you not procrastinate that and actually achieve that goal. So grab that code, go sign up for the study group. And really, if you're really, I highly recommend IIBA membership. Like I said, it gives you discount to the study group. It gives you a discount on the exam fee. We'll be paying for your first year of membership, just in those discounts. So, John, I believe you are a member and everything. I'm sure we have others out there in that. So.
No, it's great. No, well, speaking for me, this is great. No, I'm glad we've gone over it, and I appreciate the work that you've done with the chapter, Aaron. I've done a few other study sessions for different materials and that have come up. I'm looking forward to this as well. And if nothing else, you're the virtual accountability partner. Like, I've got the CBDA book and I try to go through it and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty dry, trying to get it on my own. But then trying to apply it, at least where I'm at right now, they're on a big data informed kick again. So it's a lot of opportunities coming up with the data analytics as part of the BA role. So I'm just refreshing it. So I'm just sort of taking what I believe is a solid approach to say, okay, no matter what we're looking at, if we do it this way, we're gonna best chances of success. So I appreciate that.
Excellent, thank you. And so I know I've seen you at many of our events and everything. I've seen Dorian, at events and everything. So I know she's in Kentucky. So. So appreciate you both, and everyone else who attends our events and everything. So, yeah, I don't think we have any other information. Be happy to answer any questions for anyone, if you have them today. Otherwise, we'll be looking for your registrations to the study group.
All righty, thanks y'all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank
Bye for
you.
today.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.